Okay. All right. So hi, I'm Linda
Hi.
Burbank, and we're going to do a quick resume review. Deb, why don't you introduce yourself just a little bit? It really helps me to know what kinds of jobs you're looking for before we get started.
Okay. My name is Deb Gates. I have been in the talent acquisition uh, vertical for 25 years. For almost 22 years, I worked as a staffing agency. I worked for a staffing agency as a recruiter and consultant. It's really inside sales.
Yeah.
I did that for almost 22 years, matching people to companies and cold calling, soliciting companies to get them to list their open positions and then find candidates and place them in their position. Um, and then I left the agency world to go in-house. And I was with a nonprofit organization for a little bit more of a year as a talent acquisition recruiter. They knew from the get-go that I didn't have HR, and the position morphed into somebody who needed more HR experience. And and they needed it now, and I didn't have it, and my position was eliminated. Um, and then I got a position as an HR specialist that focused on recruiting. And then when I was in the third round of layoffs when that position was eliminated in April. I do feel that I know pieces of HR. I do feel that I'm HR adjacent and can be supportive in HR, but I do not think I am yet an HR person. I'm a piece of HR. I believe in employee engagement. To That's a part of the job that I really enjoyed was employee engagement, because a happy employee, an employee that had with employees with companies, employers with good high company morale have less attrition.
Mhm.
And I like creating that environment. And in my last two positions, I had a lot of those responsibilities as well. And the culture of a company is something very important that you can use when you're recruiting people. So they go very hand in hand. Um, and that's what I like to do. I'd like to be able to be a recruiter in-house someplace, learn more HR, um, and help that that makes people excited to get up and go to work at a company every day.
Sounds great. Okay. So you sent me two different versions of your resume.
Yes,
Okay. Which one are you currently using?
the one pager.
Okay. You can use a two-page. Truly is okay. Okay. And I will tell you that when we bring it up, let me see. That's the D Gates, I think.
The D Gates is the one page.
Yep. Okay. So let's take a look at that. So there are a couple of things about this resume that I like and a couple of things that honestly I don't. So
Okay.
my first point is that um, for your contact information, you really want to, my preference would be instead of the dots that you're using to separate out points of contact, I would take those out and add a little more white space, whether you're tabbing or whether you are um, just moving it across. You really
Okay.
want to make it easy for me, the reader, okay, to figure it out.
Okay. That's not a problem.
White, nope, white space always helps. Are you changing this as you move along, as you go to different positions?
I I had not been, because I have with some, but I'm really focusing on talent acquisition positions. And I think it shows everything that I've done. And for talent acquisition positions, it's showing the end-to-end, recruitment. It's showing the different softwares that I use. It shows all the different things, the vendor management and the job fair. So I felt the one page was pretty concise.
Okay.
So I hadn't been.
So the point is that you need to be able to make it clear to the, and I'm bringing both of them up on the screen at the moment. You need to make it clear to a hiring manager what you can do for them and only for them, because honestly, that's really what they matter. I mean, you read enough resumes, you know what's important is for you to be able to demonstrate how you fit their role.
Mhm.
For example, the reason that I brought them both up is that I think there's some advantages to both of them, and I'd love to be able to see you combine the two styles to some extent.
That's what I was trying to do. And it's every other HR professionals were telling me it's too repetitive. There's too much redundancy. So I kind of did the hybrid functional chronological one to minimize that. I realized, yes, I can go onto 2 pages, but because the duties under GF and the J were so similar, I've been more of the soldier as opposed to the general.
Mm-hmm.
And so I haven't really had an opportunity to showcase accomplishments because I hadn't been at either company to really have a formal accomplishment. I mean, yes, I tried, I hired 300 people part-time and full-time at the J in a year, so I think that's important. But I also engaged with over 400 people on LinkedIn at GF to try to convince them to come to, hey, I have this position. Do you know anyone who would be interested? Really for them to apply, but sometimes no, but they still would link in with me. So then they would still make positions.
Okay. So you have more accomplishments than you think you do.
Okay.
Okay. Those two that you just mentioned, that idea of engaging with 450 people to do sourcing on LinkedIn, or hiring 300 people in a year,
Mm-hmm.
or even how many positions you recruited for at a time.
Okay.
Okay. Those are all accomplishments related to that talent acquisition kind of a role.
Okay.
Okay. So I like being able to do that. You have absolutely too many points under your jobs on the resume that is the 2-pager. The
Right.
goal is to have probably no more than 5 bullet points.
Right.
And it doesn't have to be everything you did.
Okay.
If the job, for example, isn't related to doing any career fairs, I don't need to have that on the resume.
Okay.
That's a task, not a result.
Okay.
Okay. So that would be the difference. What I like about this one is that it really talks a little more about what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And that's important. Over here, this one, the 1-pager, hiring managers don't necessarily like that whole idea of the functional kind of a resume. Now, the fact that you did it underneath the jobs is better than just doing it on a standalone.
Right, because they were almost the same things at the 2 jobs, which is why I kind of did it like that.
Right. Problem is that for some hiring managers, and the way you did it isn't bad, but I'd rather see you talk about what you did rather than leading with the label. If you're leading with the label, okay, for example, if the new job has nothing to do with orientation and development, then that becomes a disincentive to talk to you.
Okay.
Okay. You want to, again, as much as possible, especially if you're labeling it for me, you're saying these are the things you really ought to pay attention to, and you're highlighting those in bold to direct my eye.
Okay.
So if it doesn't match the job, it doesn't do you any good and says you may not have read my job description.
Okay. Even if I do a cover letter?
Doesn't make any difference.
Okay.
You know, as a recruiter as well as I do, cover letters are absolutely important. Okay.
And honestly, half the time I didn't read them.
And that's true. So why would you wait and put all that customization just in your cover letter?
Okay.
Cover letters are important anyway. The applicant tracking system will read them whether the person does or not. The person normally will see that you went to the effort of doing a cover letter. But the cover letters, the most successful cover letters are the ones that do the pre-answer to the why me for this job? Why am I interested in this role? What do I bring that nobody else does?
Okay.
It's not the customization for the job.
Okay.
That needs to be in the resume. Because as you said, not everybody's going to read the cover letter. So you need to grab my attention in the very top part, the first 2 to 9 seconds, the first third of a page.
Okay.
And it has to be related to the job that I'm interested in. So while you're talking over here about the fact that you hired for all these kinds of positions, that breadth is fantastic. But if I'm doing an engineering kind of a role, I want to see that you have the engineering experience. I don't want to see that you have the early childhood.
Okay. Gotcha.
Okay. That dilutes what you've done for me.
Okay.
Okay. Anytime you say surpassed recruiting targets,
Hmm.
that's one of those things that requires an explanation. I don't want to hear the hype, which is the surpassed. I want to
Okay.
see the result.
You want to see what? You cut out.
I want to see the numbers. I want to see the actual outcomes.
Okay.
And I don't care whether it's your personal recruitment target, that has no meaning for anybody else. What
Okay.
the important point is there that you hired 300 full and part-time employees within a year.
Okay.
That's the achievement.
Okay. Should I take the early childhood off completely? Because really, how many people are gonna need early childhood people? Not many, other than it speaks to the 300 full-time and part-time employees.
Which is why it needs to be there. But
Okay.
it doesn't need to be up here
Okay.
unless the job is also early childhood. But up here, if you're going to be talking about the kinds of industries for which you've recruited, make sure that those are related to the job you're looking at.
Okay. So
So
only
those that you're looking at. Otherwise, it dilutes what you're doing and gives me the sense that you haven't read what I'm really looking for.
okay. I think the other 8 are all relative to any company. Any manufacturing or distribution company may not have engineering, but they'll all have those shared services. They'll all have warehouse. They'll all have part-time in customer service and administrative and accounting. And
Are you looking only in those manufacturing and distributed services areas or distribution areas?
primarily,
Okay. So for those where you're not, that whole idea of light industrial and warehouse may not fit.
okay.
And take a look.
And same for the early childhood. Okay.
Right. Take a look. Even if it's not there, you need to figure out what that company is doing and what they say you would be recruiting for.
Okay.
You have to go to their website to see what their open positions are.
Sure. Okay. That makes sense.
Okay. I really want to see that what you can do for me.
Okay.
Okay. We talked about the job fairs. Okay. What I'd like to see on the resume, and honestly, I like seeing the last 2 positions separated rather than together.
Okay. Even if the work is very similar.
The work is going to be very similar, but you're going to be doing some slightly different things, and you're going to be talking about actions or actual results rather than anything else. So for example, if the new job is really doing more of this onboarding kinds of things, then leave that under GCF manufacturing or machining.
Okay.
You don't have to list them under both. This isn't a compendium of everything you've ever done. It's what you can do for me.
So maybe just split them up between the 2.
Yes.
Okay.
And make sure that the ones that you're leading in the last position, the most recent position, are the ones that are most related to the new job.
Okay. So because I did all of those bullets at both positions. I mean, first of all, so up top, full life cycle recruitment. I did that in every position.
I'm sure.
It's fine to leave it up there in that, under that header.
That's up to you whether or not you leave it in a header. What you're really trying to do is make that your professional summary. And for me, you could leave that piece out because what's important is to manage the end-to-end recruitment.
Okay. 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 So what you're saying, down by GF and the J, just move those bullets between the two jobs and shift them depending on which position needs which one.
Correct.
Okay.
But again, I'm not sure that I would do all of these headings.
Okay.
What I might do, okay,
Mm-hmm.
is actually reformat this slightly.
Which one?
Either one,
Okay.
okay? I'd like to see you add 2 distinct sections to either resume, whichever one you're choosing to use. I want one to be skills or expertise, and I want the other one to be accomplishments. These aren't your accomplishments for those jobs. Okay, on this second resume, the Deborah Gates.
Okay.
That's your experience.
Correct.
Okay.
Okay.
I want you to highlight specific accomplishments related to the new job. So in my head, when I'm reading a resume, what I like to see up top would be some of those skills or keywords and some of those accomplishments that I can use and really tie in. So in terms of the skills, okay, where your headers here
With which one?
on this resume,
I don't see the mouse.
you don't,
So I wasn't sure which one you were referring
then
to.
let's try it again. You should have told me that earlier.
No, well, before I was, but when you said this one, I didn't see it just now. That's all.
Okay, can you see them both?
Yes.
Okay. So on this resume, where
Yes.
you've got your
Okay. Now, yep.
okay. To me, instead of putting the heading there, I would like to see, for example, strategic recruitment. That could be one of those keywords, those skills.
Okay.
Onboarding could be one of those skills. It's going to highlight where I need to look and look further in the resume to try and find it. That skills section, or the expertise, is really that match between what the job is looking for in terms of keywords and what you got.
Okay. So that should be up in that top quarter section.
Yep.
Okay.
So what I would do, okay, and I'm going to look at the longer resume to start with, okay, is that I would add, oops, 2 sections here. Okay.
Okay.
One called skills,
Mhm.
one called accomplishments.
Okay.
In the skills section, what you're really looking for is just words. No explanation, no nothing.
Okay. So that could be the strategic recruitment, job description management, orientation development, employee engagement.
If it's related.
Yes.
Only if it's related. It's not everything you've done, it's what you can do for me.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, so like that.
Okay. Just put them in 3 columns. Okay.
It's not really columns, it's tabbed.
Okay.
Okay. What that does is it directs, because of the white space, it directs my eye directly there. Normally, I recommend anywhere between 6 and 18 of those terms.
Okay.
But pull them from the posting so that it's directly related. Then under the accomplishments, what I'm looking for would be the 2 to 8, 2 to 6, Most significant things you've done anywhere in your history that relate to the new job. So those 300 hires in a year,
Right.
that goes up there. You're pulling
Okay.
it out in the JCC because it doesn't matter what kind of positions they were.
Okay.
Okay. The same would be true for engaging 450 people as building a pipeline through LinkedIn.
Okay.
Okay. Pulling them out of the job makes them more transferable in somebody else's head.
So then what do I leave under the 2 positions then?
So under the 2 positions, you are again going to be talking about things you did or things you accomplished, but you talk about it in terms specifically related to that job. So if I'm looking at GFC over here, okay. You could talk about recruiting for diverse positions like all of these.
Okay.
Okay, if that was related to the new one.
Okay.
You could talk about, I don't care that you collaborated with managers. Everybody knows that.
Right. That's part of the,
That's a standard. That's like
Yeah.
saying for a recruiting job that you know how to answer the phone.
exactly. Okay.
Same thing with the collaborated, the initiated the new process. But if the initiating an approval process might be important given the new job, if that's one of the things they're looking at.
Okay.
Okay. Developing job descriptions. That's huge. New ways of posting them. That's big.
Okay.
Okay. Think about what the job is really looking for. The fact that you supported vendor management, that doesn't do you any good either.
Okay.
Okay.
So no one cares if I know how to work with the agency or not. Basically.
Basically what you're saying is, I know how to do the job.
Okay.
So instead of saying you know how to do the job, what I want to know is, what did you do? It's not the tasks, but show me what you did. So implementing that AAP compliance information project, that might be important.
Okay.
Okay, depending upon what the company is looking at. If they're still involved in some sort of DEI or affirmative action planning, that's going to be an important issue to be able to keep track of that on a routine basis. Not just keeping track of it, but analyzing it.
Okay.
Okay, so that would be the distinction that I would make there. I prefer, especially if you're going back, you were at Job Giraffe for a very long time. Okay. You don't have to go back that far. You can go back to when Job Giraffe bought Page Personnel or the other way around.
It's same ownership. We just rebranded the name.
Got it.
But still do it as 2012 instead.
You could.
Okay.
And then you could say additional related experience and then put that other company name.
Okay. Even though it's still one thing. Okay. I can break that down.
And you don't have to even do that. Okay. You can say, if somebody asks, you can do it. But this way, not only does it look like you were there because you were for 21 years, 22 years.
Shy of 22.
Yep. Okay. You're going back a little far.
Yeah.
Okay. Which is
Okay.
good. But if you put that 2012 date and you have the legitimate reason for doing that, it's not going to change anything that you did. It's not going to change your accomplishments, but it's going to make that experience appear a little more relevant.
Okay.
I don't
And
want
in that case, I would just, under professional experience, I would just have it as Job Giraffe with 2012 and then that same bullet and then underneath just a one-liner, additional experience.
additional
Page
related
personnel
experience.
services.
Yes, Page Personnel
Okay.
Services. Title, no dates, no bullets.
I didn't think I'd put dates in there.
Yeah, okay. But I'd like to see more bullets there. You were there for over 20 years, whether we're listing it as 10 years or 20 years.
Correct.
There should be more than one bullet, especially if you have so many bullets for the other points.
I don't disagree. The problem is that it was wash, rinse, repeat every day for 20 years. Cold call clients, interview applicants, match them, cold call clients, Interview applicants, match them.
I understand. I've been there, done that. But were you able to develop new clients?
Yeah.
Okay. So you cold called new clients, bringing X% into the fold.
Okay.
Okay. Not that language, but that's what it is.
Okay.
You manage X number of positions at a time.
Okay.
Okay. You had either a higher rate or a higher to fill rate or fill to higher rate.
I think I have that on the longer one.
Okay.
I had accomplishments under that. So, okay.
But I want to see what you did, because otherwise, why would you even list it?
Okay.
Okay.
So on the longer, that's not, I even had it on a different one that I don't have that I sent you where I had accomplishments. So, okay.
So those
Okay.
would be the kinds of things that I might do.
Okay.
In addition, if I'm looking at some of your community leadership, and we can spend more time doing a real resume update if we wanted to, and you wanted some additional coaching on that. But one of the things that I'd like to see, for example, I love the fact that you've got some of your community leadership there.
Mhm.
But when you say fundraiser, I don't know whether that means that you're doing your own multiple sclerosis walk, or whether you were putting together one of those fundraising activities that raised over $100,000.
Okay.
And I want to see that here. The fact that you walk in the walk doesn't make any difference,
Right.
because they're also important, or also doing it. But initiated and organized that fundraising initiative, raising over $100,000 for the National Multiple Sclerosis Society, I might just do that.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. I can do that.
The fact that you're a lifetime member of Hadassah is great, but it doesn't. Okay. The fact that you were a board member back in 2017, it was the last time you did that. That might be appropriate for LinkedIn. I don't know that it's appropriate here.
Okay.
It's a little old. Okay. And with your building Hadassah community, since I don't know what that means, you
Okay.
might want to put a little bit of an explanation or take some of this out.
Okay. I can just, and quite honestly, I can take it out completely,
Yep.
the Hadassah thing.
So that's at least a little bit of a hint of the kinds of things that I might do, Deb.
Okay.
Go ahead.
How I have and again, I've talked to several people, the where I have professional accomplishments and the technical skills and the education. Put it in there or don't put it in there, because people are saying that ATSs aren't reading it. Well, the truth of the matter is when I upload something to the ATS, I have a separate document with everything that I did and I copy and paste it. So it's not mattering because I'm still editing it anyway. Or do it, don't do it. I think it's easier on the eyes, but
What, doing it this way?
yeah.
So
Like the one on the left.
I understand. So these might be some of the things that I might include up here in this skills section, if they're appropriate to the job. They're all the way at the bottom. The ATS is going to read it wherever you put it in. My eyes may miss it.
Okay.
But I would only include those things, again, without the labels. But I would only include it if it's related to the new job.
Okay.
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 So for example, if you're recruiting a lot of fresh grads, handshake is important.
Yes.
But if you're recruiting people who've got 15 years of experience, they have no idea what handshake means.
Correct.
Okay. The same with software. Because these are so specific.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Normally, they're going to say, which kind of software do you have? ATS system do you have? If they don't have it, or if they just say ATS software, or they list when you don't have, just say applicant tracking systems.
Okay.
You know one, you can learn another.
Well, right. I mean, and I've learned 3.
Yeah,
So, okay. Okay, so it doesn't look horrible, but it needs a little bit of help.
it's not horrible by any means. You've got a lot of good information there. I think you just need to play with it a little bit. And definitely cut down. You have, my preference would probably be the 2-page version,
Okay,
okay? But I think you can absolutely tweak that, and you have too many bullets under each
right, I
job,
agree.
okay? You want no more than 5 per job.
Okay,
Make sure that they are specifically related to not activities, that they are things that you've done that are showing a result. I mean, you don't have to put numbers by everything. But managing the full life cycle process and then including all of those things under that, that's tasks. Okay. I don't want your tasks.
Okay.
I want to know what you accomplished with doing that.
okay. I can do that.
Okay. By the way, no bullet should be longer than 2 lines. People stop reading.
Okay, good to know.
If it's longer than 2 lines, put it in a separate bullet.
Okay. And it's funny because with Job Giraffe and Page, I felt funny having just one bullet because it kind of, to me, it went back to that old outline. You don't have an A without a B. You don't have a 1 without a 2. So,
So I want more than 1 under Job Giraffe.
okay.
If you're going to
Okay.
have 4 or 5 under the others, you want, especially because you were there for so long, I would like the same number under there if you can, even if it's repetitive.
Okay. Okay, I can work on that.
Okay?
Very good.
Give you a
Very
start?
Definitely a start. Definitely a good start.
Good. All right. So Deb, if people want to get a hold of you, are you willing to connect with them on LinkedIn?
Absolutely.
Okay. So
My LinkedIn is www.linkedin.com/in/Deb, DEB, Pokres, POKRES, Gates, GATES.
perfect. And I will put that in the comments as well.
Awesome.
Thank you so much for letting me do this. I'm hoping that you got some good information.
Absolutely. Thank you.
You're very welcome. I will talk to you soon.
Thanks so much. Take care, Linda.
You too. Bye-bye.